Your dose of wildness. July 8th, 1947. The United States Army Air Force issues an official press release. Not a rumor, not a leak, an official statement authorized by the base commander sent to the wire services. It says, "We have recovered a flying disc." The press release runs on the front page of newspapers around the world. The New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, papers in London, in Sydney.
For approximately 8 hours, the official position of the United States military is that they have a flying disc. Then, in the afternoon, a general holds a press conference in Fort Worth, Texas. He holds up a weather balloon. He says this is what it was. The story is retracted. The front pages are corrected. And the question that has never been answered in 76 years, is this. Why did they say it in the first place? The 509th Bomb Group was the unit that dropped the atomic bombs on Japan. These were not people who made careless statements about flying discs. So what did they have?
Part 1. The 8-hour truth. To really grasp the gravity of the Roswell anomaly, we have to rewind exactly 14 days prior.
It's late June 1947. Civilian pilot Kenneth Arnold spots 9 high-speed objects skipping across the sky near Mount Rainier. A journalist coins the term flying saucer. The concept is entirely new. It carries zero pop culture baggage. It is not yet a mythology. 14 days later, Roswell detonates into this virgin cultural landscape. The Cold War is weeks old. The Iron Curtain has fallen. The threat matrix is entirely real. Now look at this incredibly aggressive 8-hour window. Morning. Rancho Mac, Brazil finds a sprawling debris field. Intelligence Officer Major Jesse Marcel collects it. Lieutenant Walter Haut drafts the release. Midday. The world believes a disc is real. Afternoon. Brigadier General Roger Ramey kills the story from Fort Worth. A weather balloon is displayed. A photograph is taken. The retraction is absolute. 8 hours to change human history. 8 hours to erase it.
This highlights a massive, glaring contradiction. These men were the custodians of the world's only nuclear monopoly. The 509th Bomb Group operated under the direct oversight of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Base Commander Colonel William Blanchard ran the Hiroshima and Nagasaki missions. Major Jesse Marcel was an elite intelligence officer whose literal job was identifying foreign threat materials. We're talking about serious men operating the most security-sensitive installation on the planet. Elite intelligence officers do not misidentify weather balloons, issue global press releases, and panic. The idea that the commander who oversaw the atomic bomb drops was suddenly baffled by standard tinfoil is frankly absurd.
Part 2. Memory metal and witnesses. Let's shift from the official paper trail to the actual physical impossibility of the recovered materials. The official retraction demands we believe Major Jesse Marcel was confused by rubber and foil. The witness testimony demands we examine physics. Jesse Marcel loaded debris into his car. He drove home, he woke his young son, he showed him the material and told him to memorize it. He explicitly stated they would never see anything like it again. Why? Because it completely defied the conventional materials of 1947. Balsa wood, neoprene, standard aluminum foil. Both Marcel Sr. and Marcel Jr. independently described shape memory metal, foil that, when crushed into a tight ball, instantly unfolded itself to a perfectly smooth surface without a single crease. They described beams lighter than balsa wood that could not be burned, cut, or dented by a sledgehammer. To put that in perspective, nitinol, the first human-made shape memory alloy, was not synthesized until 1959. Mylar did not exist until 1952. The material recovered on that ranch predated human invention by a full decade. Then we have Lieutenant Walter Haut, the man whose name was actually on that original July 8 press release. For decades, Haut gave measured interviews. He never claimed direct observation. Until he drafted a sworn, notarized affidavit. He gave strict instructions that it remain completely sealed until his death. In 2005, he passed away. The affidavit was unsealed. It reads, "I observed a craft and non-human bodies. The weather balloon was a deliberate cover story." By doing this, he bypassed every mechanism of intimidation. He eliminated financial motivation. He waited until he could not be touched, and he told the truth.
Part 3. Project Mogul Examined.
We have to examine the counter-argument. We deal in documented facts in this explainer. In 1994, the United States Air Force released its final explanation for the Roswell debris. They said it wasn't a standard weather balloon. It was something far more secretive. If you want to understand the modern institutional stance, you have to understand this program. Project Mogul, a legitimate, highly classified military operation. The United States had no reliable way to monitor Soviet nuclear progress, so Project Mogul launched massive, 600-foot-long trains of balloons carrying acoustic sensors into the upper atmosphere. They utilized specialized radar reflectors. This explanation is entirely credible for why a highly classified project was operating near Roswell. It perfectly explains the massive scale of the debris field found by Mac Brazil.
But pit Mogul against Marcel, and the physical realities do not align. Neoprene tears, witness material could not be cut. Balsa wood snaps. Witness beams resisted sledgehammers. Standard foil crinkles. Witness foil possessed shape memory. Balloon trains drift and scatter. The Foster Ranch Earth was violently gouged by a skipping impact. Marcel Sr. and Jr. both observed hieroglyphic-like symbols along the rigid beams. Project Mogul relies on tape and foil. Mogul absolutely explains the secret balloon. It fails completely to explain the indestructible physics witnessed by the 509's chief intelligence officer.
Part 4. The Suppression Protocol. What happened after the retraction was not a chaotic scramble. It was the birth of a system. The emotional texture of the Roswell event is the visceral sensation of wonder being forcibly extracted and replaced with fear. The United States government realized they had a containment failure, so they deployed a calculated suppression mechanism. Step 1. Detain Mac Brazil. The rancher was held at the military base for days. He was marched out for a supervised newspaper interview where his story radically changed. He later told family he was pressured into silence. Step 2. Marginalize Jesse Marcel. The brilliant intelligence officer was photographed kneeling next to weather balloon foil, a deliberate humiliation. His career stalled. Step 3. Intimidate the civilian staff, nurses, mortuary workers, peripheral contractors, visited, warned, threatened. The theft of wonder left an emotional scar of institutional distrust. That scar has lasted 76 years.
Part 5. The 2025 Disclosure Fight. This is Part 3 of the Pentagon UAP arc. If you haven't watched Parts 1 and 2, they're in the playlist linked below, and they will genuinely change how you see this story. Everything in this arc is sourced from official documents, sworn testimony, and named witnesses. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because this arc is not finished, and neither is the real-world story it's following. We are connecting 1947 directly to the modern legislative stakes. Roswell is not a historical myth. It is the active origin point of a system Congress is battling today.
The UAP Disclosure Act does not view Roswell as folklore. Lawmakers view it as a real legal concealment problem. The legislation explicitly targets historical records dating back to 1947 for mandatory declassification. Congress is actively hunting the exact paper trail that Colonel William Blanchard and General Roger Ramey generated during those 8 hours. If this act achieves its intended scope, the classified files regarding the 1947 recovery must be surrendered to civilian oversight.
Follow the unbroken line from 1947 to 2025. The suppression protocol tested on Mac Brazil and Jesse Marcel became the permanent stigmatizing system weaponized against modern military pilots. The rapid classification of the Roswell debris birthed the very special access programs that intelligence officer David Grush testified about under oath in Congress. The mechanism that forced the 1947 retraction is the exact same classification machinery currently blocking congressional oversight today. It was born in the New Mexico desert, it matured in the Pentagon, it is fully operational right now.
The press release still exists. You can find it. You can read it. The words flying disc in a United States Army Air Force official communique dated July 8, 1947, under the name of Lieutenant Walter Haut, authorized by Colonel William Blanchard. It is a primary source, it is on the record, and it was never supposed to survive. Tomorrow, for Day 53, we stay in the paranormal space, but we shift the geography, from the New Mexico desert to the skies over Belgium, where in 1989 and 1990, something that appeared on military radar, was tracked by NATO aircraft and was photographed on the ground, flew over the country for months, while the Belgian Air Force and government openly acknowledged they had no explanation: the Belgian UFO wave. And unlike almost every case we've covered in this arc, the government didn't deny it. See you there.